No,
Episode 147. Today, look, with the market changing, it's all over the place right now.
everywhere.
So we're going to be talking about how you can take more listings in this weird marketplace right now.
Doing it every day.
We're going to get started? Absolutely right now.
And again, right now. In a second.
Or not.
We're working.
All right, episode 147. Today we're going to be talking about how we can take more listings in this volatile marketplace. But before we get started,
I'm sorry to interrupt. I just love it's been such a busy day for everybody. It's just coming back from that intro is the perfect metaphor for that. Every fucking person in the studio, including Jesse, is on their phone, just like handling business. Like, didn't even realize the show had started. Matt's still texting. Like, Nick's doing the intro, looking down at his phone. Like, summer is here, boys. Summer is fucking here.
Summer and it's busy.
That's what I'm saying. It's busy.
It's like that's the thing is like I know we're getting this. And we're totally skipping our sponsors, but we'll give them their spot in a second. That's the crazy thing is like business is picked up if you're doing it right.
You're working really hard.
Yeah,
You know who does it right?
Armadillo
Home Warranty.
I was trying to, man. I thought I hit you guys with the perfect one-timer pass.
Yeah, I was thinking about something else right now. But what I am thinking about now is Armadillo Home Warranty, where, look, it's hot. Other than today, it's 91. So if your AC was getting a little reprieve today, and more than likely, sounds like this audio is messed up a little bit. We good? But
I love it when Jesse just frantically runs around the studio and we don't know exactly what's wrong.
Exactly.
But he's just running back and forth behind the cameras, waving and trying to get our attention, and we just can't help him at all. And he's just trying to fix whatever just broke.
But I will tell you that AC units are just working overtime right now, and most of the problems, at least on our rentals that we're having, is the AC stopped working, they're running it too low and freezing up the lines, or they just went out because they just stopped working in general. And we're seeing a lot of that with our past clients, our clients, and people in our database. And Armadillo Home Warranty would be a great option for them to have. So armadillo.one/tour. Go talk to the Ron and have him hook you up with a great home warranty that would cover your HVAC system, as well as everything else.
This was not the Ron and Armadillo Home Warranty on this, but I did get a call from some clients as everything started heating back up and their AC went kaput really quickly. And they had the insurance company or the home warranty company send somebody out, and they were like, no, it's just a old unit. It's like raggedy and dirty, whatever. And I always tell my clients, like, call me if you have to use the home warranty and they push back. Like, I'll try and go up the chain of command, which is why it's nice.
People maybe.
Yeah, it's why it's nice to have somebody, right? And so anyways, they called me and they were like, hey, they're not going to replace the AC. It's going to be like, we have to replace like a condenser coil or like something crazy. I went over to their house. Now, this was on the outside unit. I went over to their house and literally cleaned up the outside exterior unit. They sent another AC company back out to double check it. Miraculously, everything was like going to be covered then.
Really?
Yes. It had nothing to do with the age, anything. Right. And I'm not going to call this home warranty company out. I wouldn't use them again, but it was just, that would maybe just been the AC guy. It may not be on them.
Right.
But the reality is, like, having somebody in your corner as an agent that when your clients need to go to the home warranty company was huge. And I didn't have that in that case. So I just went over and just kind of did my thing and tried to make it look okay. And it ended up working out. But had I had somebody, I would have been like, hey, man, can you have somebody go over there and check this out or run it up the chain of command or something? And that's exactly why it's helpful to have the Ron in your corner.
So damn true, dude.
Because he answers his phone all the time, constantly in his fanny pack.
I was so nervous for a second there because you just don't want to get a text from American Airlines 3 hours before your flight leaves. It was just the confirmation that I was leaving on time.
Thank God.
Cheers.
And you know who else is confirming that they're on time? Is Mortgage Mike.
Always.
Sometimes early.
Mortgage Mike is always on time with that Mortgage Mike stamp of approval. No.
Approval.
This is going well, guys.
Well, look.
We didn't do it last week.
This summertime, it
Yeah.
is. Look, got a little lazy mouth today. It is what it is. And so Mortgage Mike's stamp of approval. Go to mortgagemikeoftexas.com. You know what he does. He's a lender here in Texas. Use him. And last but not least is our favorite property management company, homeward.dfw.com. Dana's amazing. She's going to make sure that if you have a $300 water bill, they're going to send Brian and myself out there to go take a look at it.
You guys actually want to know how committed we are to the property management company. Both Nick and I visited one of our properties in person. Not that you shouldn't do that. I'm just saying, like we dove in to take action on a property that we couldn't understand why their water bill was so high. So Nick and I went over to investigate and make it right. We went separately. This is a funny story. So we went separately. I went the first time, couldn't do anything because I couldn't get in the house because the key was missing from the little lockbox. So we traced it because we're on top of things. Immediately we took action, figured out who was the last person. This was like a self-showing box. We figured out who was the last person to see it. Dana, our awesome, amazing president, calls the person who's like, hey, did you accidentally take that key? She's like, no. I took it on purpose. And so what happened was, this is a thing that this has nothing to do with the property management company. What happens is there are scams online, right? A lot of times people will take like the picture of the front of the house from like the MLS or Zillow or whatever, and then they'll post it on like Facebook Marketplace and try to run a scam where they try to get you to pay a deposit and lease the property before you ever see it and stuff, and then they just pocket your deposit and disappear, right? So I think that was maybe about to happen to this lady, and she figured it out or something, but she didn't understand that the scammer was not affiliated with the house. She was like, this whole house is a scam. I'm taking the key. And Dana was like, we're going to need that back like immediately. So we got to figure it out within like 30 minutes. Restored order. Everything is great. But I love the idea of a person just being like, I'm doing justice.
Isn't that a banana? Isn't that a banana spot we live in? That somebody's just like, you know what? I've just evaluated the situation. I've made a personal decision that everything here is wrong. I'm shutting this shit down.
I'm making a citizen's arrest. It's so stupid.
Look, most people wouldn't do it though. So good, I guess good for her. Saved us, and that is one of the ways to get more listings is just you put a house up for sale that's not yours, right. No agreement in place, and that's the number one way to get more listings.
100%, right? You could go set up previews on listings, steal the key, and then refuse to give it back until they list with you.
Yes. Look,
foolproof.
Yeah, that's the number one way. I guess we're done with the show.
That's what I've been doing. I'm just going through expired listings and looking for people to take stuff from, just to leverage them into listing for me. Yeah. I'm swiping garden gnomes right now.
We're looking up all the vacant expireds, and we're standing in the front yard and taking a picture and sending it to the sellers and be like, if you ever want to see your house again.
We should do the bit where like the climate people do, where they just like in Europe, where they just go and like block the tunnel so nobody can get to work, like in order for climate change.
So you just block their garage and front door.
Just do something, just I don't know, chain myself to the front door until they give me the listing.
Go on a hunger strike on their porch.
I'd probably only take one listing a month, but
that's a pretty time involved tactic.
I'll rethink that.
Yeah.
Oh man.
That's for next week's show.
Yeah.
But that is what we are talking about today, because the market is changing in the favor of people that take listings. This is like one of the things that I super agree with. This like the I'm not really into tacky sayings, but the list to last saying is super, super, super true. Inventory is picking up, which means good things. Your buyers have more choices, which is awesome. And there are so many opportunities for listings out there right now. You know what would be really, really difficult to operate in is a market where rates have gone up, affordability is maybe a little bit of an issue for some people, and no more listings are coming on the market. That's not the case, though. We have listing inventory has more than doubled in the last few months.
Yeah.
Which seems like it's a bad thing. If you're a listing agent, that's fantastic. Your whole business is listings right now. You're going to have to service them a little longer, but man, take freaking territory right now. It's up for grabs.
Well, it's great for listing agents and bad if they've been in the business less than 5 years. Yeah. And they didn't set, I think we talked about it 2 weeks ago about not setting proper expectations, and they're getting fired.
Yeah.
Because we just got released from one, and I'll say this was a mutual releasement because
I've had some of those.
Releasement.
Yeah, good releasement.
Yep.
Releasement.
Yep. That we mutually agreed to let each other go from this one because this client was definitely unrealistic of what they were wanting, where they were going to. They were looking to sell and then go and rent, but they only wanted to rent like houses that were brand new.
Yeah.
There wasn't a lot, and they wanted a good price. And they're like, well, I mean, rent's outrageous. Well, no kidding.
So
right?
like they want your house listed.
They want super high price for their home, but don't want to pay outrageous rent.
And so we didn't get a lot of showings. In fact, even we did a couple open houses. Not, I think less than 2 people showed up at the open house on it. And it just became where the client became unreasonable. And just at that time, we're like, look, I think it's best if we both decide to part ways with each other, because there is a time right now that you're going to have such unrealistic clients.
Sure.
That the juice isn't worth the squeeze. Is it worth having that? Is it worth it at the end of the day to have that call and you look at your phone and you dread picking it up because you know it's going to be a whipping and it's going to drain you so far down that you're not wanting to go even lead generate to go get more listings in place. And so to me, that's not worth it. And there's plenty of other listing opportunities out there at this moment. We just talked about number one. What would you say, Matt, what's the number one place if you have to go get a listing right now? In this marketplace, what's the number one way to go get a listing?
I mean, expireds right now are ticking up, but I think they're still a little bit slow. The lead source that I've seen coming through, because I have the advantage of seeing all the listings we take, and I looked at the numbers. We had like 25 or 27 this month or something.
It's like
25. 25?
Yeah,
and
it's not bad.
I mean, FSBOs. We are seeing FSBO as a lead source, and I actually talked to one of our agents who just took one, and it's funny because I coach her personally, and she was talking about kind of just like, I don't really have any listing prospects right now. I kind of feel like that pipeline's dried up. Those conversations dried up a little bit. She didn't have this person in her world 14 days ago at all. And it's a signed listing that I think is going on the market next week now, right? It's not taking long to convert them. She came completely from contribution, right? She did not go in on the attack for the appointment. She went over to help them out. And that ultimately ended up being what they liked about her, was they were like, we just really appreciate your knowledge on the market.
They talked to several other agents.
Yeah. They were like, we appreciate your knowledge on the market and all this other stuff. So I think you're about to start seeing that opportunity. If we're feeling the way this market shifted, for sale by owners are going to feel it as well. And I don't think it's going to take them long once they put their house on the market and then showings don't show up and all they have are real. Because that's the way it used to be a couple of years ago, remember? The only calls FSBOs were getting were from agents soliciting their listing.
Yep.
And I think if you're a good, solid agent who understands how to be nimble in conversation and come from contribution, that's an awesome lead source right now.
It makes perfect sense because FSBOs for the last couple of years, if you're listing as a FSBO in a hot market, the fiduciary responsibility of an agent that you don't have is really their value proposition. Like, you probably weren't getting the best deal if you were a FSBO because you're probably getting shortchanged a little bit. Like, I can't remember what that NAR statistic is, but like, people offer a certain percentage less for FSBOs just kind of organically than listed homes. So like, you still weren't getting the full like positive brunt of this very heavy sellers market for the last couple of years. Also, if you were able to negotiate your own deal and understand the contracts and avoid the pitfalls and all that type of stuff, you were still getting offers. And so why I think it's so makes so much sense is because the FSBOs that are listing right now are kind of the tail end of the demographic that thought this would be easy, and they're figuring out really, really quickly, like, oh no, I need to be marketed now and stand out because there's a lot more inventory and buyers have a lot more choices than they did 3 months ago. Like, I need to call in a professional.
You're even seeing discerning sellers make this same thing, though. You want to, in our MLS specifically, but I think in most major markets, you guys should go look at this. Go look at the days on market of your canceled listings. I'm actually meeting with a lady next week who was only on the market for 13 days before she realized, and she had canceled her listing for whatever reason, right? But she was only on the market for 13 days before she realized that everything that she had kind of been told in the approach was not going to work at all, right? First, she was selling a townhome, which I just fundamentally think are a little bit harder to sell. There's a smaller buyer pool for those, right? And so she had a difficult property to sell already. She was incredibly aggressively priced, right? And then we go back to like the photography wasn't great. So if you're looking for opportunities, go look for those. I would say a few years ago when people canceled within a few days, I thought it was just because they were unreasonable and they probably didn't want to sell. I don't think that's the case right now. I think there's a lot of sellers who want to sell and feel like they should be represented a certain way, and then very quickly in the process they're finding out that the agent either didn't pivot, they didn't have any showings, the pictures look like shit, whatever it is. Because, guys, agents are out there discounting themselves and discounting their services all over the place because they are hungry. And I don't mean hungry like to win in real estate. I mean hungry because of food.
Like, you're right. They're not the ones that are unreasonable. It's actually the agents that are unreasonable. The reason that agents are getting fired and so many listings are canceling right now is because they're over-promising and under-delivering. Mm-hmm. Jesse made this point earlier. We were in the car. Jesse picked me up from Suit Supply today.
I did.
I was dropping off some pants. I needed to ride back to the office, and then I was.
By the way, how long does it take to get that? I need to get a new suit for your thing.
Oh,
Suit Supply's dope.
Like, if you're gonna get it made,
Yeah.
like 3 months.
Yeah. Well,
You're not gonna get one made in like 10 days.
why not?
because your frame's different than most people in the first place.
Just take it in a little bit.
You could go and tailor. That's what I was doing. I was dropping off some pants to be tailored. If you go off the rack, you could easily get it tailored really quickly.
We can just find Nick a navy blue comforter and have that taken.
Yeah, you could get one off the rack. You're not going full custom. But
No.
I was bullshitting around with the guy, and Jesse pulled up, and I was like, "Oh shit, my husband's here!" And I ran out like really, really like he was gonna beat me. But no, this is exactly what he's saying. Like, expireds have already started to tick up. Mm-hmm. He was more interested in what happens. Like, I think that I was going to see a lot more expireds come in like 2 or 3 months whenever like a lot of these maybe shorter listing agreements expired. Canceled are going to, like, you already start to see the canceled picking up because agents are just over promising and under delivering. You see it on both sides of the transaction. You see agents that still, like, they just don't get enough repetitions in. So they don't know what market we're in yet because they haven't experienced it enough times yet. So you get agents that are still promising things that they probably can't come through on right away. And then there's also the buyer agent out there that doesn't understand that you don't have to go 50,000 over and waive the appraisal. Like, how many listings have we had that went under contract that are well over asking price, full waiver of appraisal, and no other offers? And you're like, dude, I'm going to accept this offer, but I almost want to call you and tell you you're making a big mistake. Like,
but that's
why
happening.
are you doing this?
But that's happening. But also, we're getting over asking price with waivers, and then right before we execute the deal, they're backing out, withdrawing.
They are. Well,
we've had one of those today. In fact,
that can happen too. I would say the one thing that I forgot to say there is, in the situations we've also had that, the agents that were making the offer didn't even call the listing agent to like talk to them about the listing at all, which is just such terrible service to your clients.
So let's kind of rank these. You know, how to get these listings in this market. Where are we going? For subliners, would you say is number one?
I think there are fewer of them, but they're probably the highest converting right now.
Yes. And I think if we're looking at cancels and expires, because I know in different markets, those are two completely different categories. Here, we just call them all the same thing, right? If they're off the market and
I think you approach the conversation almost the same way.
I think you approach the conversation the same way. But when I do see that lower days on market, I am approaching it the same way. I want to know what went wrong, how the showings were, things like that. But when I see that low days on market, I know something went catastrophically wrong, right? And I'm definitely trying to feel that. So I like that because my particular style is I like it when the previous listing was a complete S show. Yeah. Right? Like I almost don't like the ones that were reasonably priced and it just didn't sell for some reason because I like it when I can look at it and be like, your last agent was doing some not doing anything wrong.
You want them to make all the mistakes.
Yes. So and I feel like canceleds give you a huge opportunity for that because when I'm looking at expireds or cancels, the first thing I'm looking at is photography.
Nobody wants your ex-boyfriend to be a stud. Like,
exactly.
You want to make up for all his bullshit.
You pick those up sometimes though, where you're the second agent and you don't really see anything that went wrong, and it's just timing, or maybe it was marketing in the background, or even a lot of agents shit on feedback. I think feedback's incredibly important, right? Like there's some agents who are like, I don't provide it, and I don't care if I get on my listings. Okay, well I can make a case.
Maybe the number one service thing that will help you like really give your clients.
It just allows you to pivot. So again, when you're looking at the MLS, there's a couple of key things that I'm looking at when I see an expired. I'm looking at the quality of photography, and I'm looking to see how those appointments were scheduled. If those appointments, and look, if you do this as an agent, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I'm just saying, like, I understand the limitations. When you are an agent who says, text me for showings, I know for a fact you cannot track any of that mess. It's too unless you are just so dialed in with your spreadsheets and all kinds of other stuff, right? So then I also know you're not getting feedback at a good enough clip because you can't follow up the agents afterwards. So you're not even able to go back to the sellers to tell them what people aren't liking they could potentially correct, which is a huge piece of information on how we pivot in a market when we're making price adjustments and trying to do all that stuff. So I'm looking for bad photos and appointments being set up through text message. Those are the two. I can solve so many problems if those two things have happened with the listing previously.
I know you say that like they're gonna tick up. I think they kind of are. Like, man, I look at them every day. They already really have. You're getting a massive amount of expired opportunities right now. So that's got to be right up there, number one or number two. Exactly like Kelderman said. It might be the best time for expired listings right now because the conversations are so easy, man. It doesn't mean that you're gonna just absolutely blow it out of the water. Like, the agents that are going to kill it with expireds right now are the ones that can get repetitions in, and the ones that have probably done this in other markets. Like Nick Good is a great example. Nick Good feasts on expireds, and he's done it in different market environments. Like, you would crush it with prospecting right now. Both of you would, because the conversation is just so damn easy right now. Like, finding the overpromise and underdeliver that the last agent made, it happens in 30 freaking seconds, dude. It's so easy.
The easiest way to do this is money changes hands when problems are solved.
There you go.
So when you
Market.
yeah, when you really look at this, is you start solving more problems, you start earning more money, and that was when I started building this expired business. The number one problem that we were having at the time was not the economy. That's what agents were blaming it on, right? But they weren't setting up proper expectations. They were, still, even photography was an issue back then, and continued on moving forward even to now, where people cheaped out thinking, hey, I don't have to actually spend money on photography because it's going to sell anyway. So we're actually going back in time on a lot of this stuff.
That's super true.
Communication was always an issue, or lack thereof, because once they signed that listing agreement, they never heard from their agent again unless it was for a price adjustment.
You don't want to deliver bad news, so you tend not to communicate at
Exactly. Exactly. And then what you do as the agent, what they do is they just wait until the client calls them, and they're so frustrated, they're like, I'll just drop the price, whatever. And they're like, oh, great, so we should drop it here. And then
It's like this 6-month Mexican standoff.
Yes, yes. And where we capitalized on this is, again, we started solving those problems. We heard multiple problems, and they were all the same. And a lot of times it had to do with agents coming in and over promising on price, because especially at that time, we may see a little bit of that now just because of where pricing has been. But back then it was homeowners were close to being upside down on their mortgage. So of course, a lot of them did not want to bring money to the table. So that was you had to really be prepared for that conversation. Here, they should be having.
Everybody should have a lot of equity.
They should have equity. They should. And from that, it's what people don't want to feel like. They don't want to feel like they're losing.
Yeah.
So
that's a huge part of it.
So if you can structure it in a way and say, look, we're not losing. We're just helping set up we're helping putting you in the best position to win. And winning to me is getting an offer that is in your acceptable range. Not mine, not the buyer's, your acceptable range.
Man, Jesse, I knew we were having this conversation today, and I should have had you just pull up that chart from team meeting yesterday beforehand. But regardless, we can explain it really fast. This is where agents are super falling short. This is so much kind of fun for data nerds like us, where you can see the conversation laid out in numbers, right? Like, no problem. Why we're having so much over-promising and under-delivering right now, which is creating a lot of expireds. So we look at like a trailing 12 months, like median closed price in our MLS. Hey, there we go. Like median closed price in our MLS. See if we can get there. Yeah. So here we go. Actually, there we go. We'll just do it right here. All right. So check this out. This is going to be median closed price versus median original price in our MLS for the last 12 months. Now, June's not finished, so you're not going to have the final totals for a few more days. So like that small little dip right there is going to go away. But you see median closed price has continued to increase. 327 to 325, or 327 to 375 between July and May, right? And what you're also seeing is that price is the price increases are decelerating. This is called price deceleration. They're still increasing. They're just increasing at a slightly slower rate. But if you look at original price, this would be the original asking price. It is rocketing, continuing. It's not decelerated at all, right? We're still continuing to trend upward. And so what we have are people that are still continuing to ask more and more for their homes, and they're having to do price reductions. We have like a 73.5% ratio of new listings to price reductions on a trailing 7 days in the North Texas MLS. That means that people are overpricing and then realizing, oh crap, I have to reduce. They're not closing for lower prices though. They're just still continuing to ask too much. And that's a lot of that is on agents. So when you see all these expires and you go in and have this conversation, the conversation is not that you're taking less for your home or your home is worth less. The conversation is you got the benefit of 2 years of massive equity and massive price appreciation. You're making out like a bandit. The only caveat is when you put it on the market, somebody might give you full price or maybe even a little less. They're not going to give you $100,000 over asking price. So don't ask for it. Be reasonable, and you're still going to get more than you would last month or the month before or a year ago. sellers are winning right now. Agents aren't telling them how they're winning properly.
Dude, and that's funny because everybody who watches this show knows that sometimes data's lost on me. And Brian showed that chart and team meeting yesterday, and I looked at it for a solid 2 minutes before he said something that finally made it click. And it's the equivalent of, you are the agent who is going in and seeing home prices, especially in DFW, have been going up 1.5% or 2% a month over the past year and a half. And then you go in July almost of 2020 and price in that same structure because you have a comp next door and you add 2% to that you are contributing to this exact problem that we're talking about,
yeah.
right? And that was one. That part, I think if you're in any MLS, you should print that up and take that on every listing appointment with you. That is one of the that's one of the easiest way to break down to sellers exactly what you're talking about. That your price has still went up $55,000, yes, right, in the past less than a year, regardless of what's happening over here. And I also say that original list price is contributing to some of the paranoia stuff that we're seeing out there, because that is the number that people are using to say that prices are falling.
Which is that's exactly my point. Prices are not falling because people's market value is dropping. Prices, quote unquote, are falling because agents are still guaranteeing sellers that they're going to get this egregious price for them. Closed prices are still increasing, just not at the same rate. You're just seeing way more expireds because people are still going, 400, you want to price at 400? Yeah, whatever. It's really worth 360? Price at 400, you'll probably get 500. Like, agents are not having fierce enough conversations. Guys, this data is exposing weak agents. Like, we have this thing. Do you guys, have you ever heard this like really bad take on the real estate market that comes from the general public? Is like, real estate agents just continue to increase prices. They're price fixing. Like, which is like, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
Actually, the exact opposite is true. Real estate agents are so dumb, they try to do that, and it doesn't work, and this is what we end up with. We end up with a very uninformed general public that doesn't even realize that prices or that equities still is increasing and market values still are increasing, but people think that prices are actually dropping because dumb agents still overprice homes.
Well, and then they make. I'm having conversations with a lady right now who she was listed in the high fours.
Okay.
She was just so convinced that she was so overpriced. She was about to take an offer from an investor at 410, and I was like, there is a massive $80,000 gap in here where your home should sell, and even if you come in and pay full boat on commission, you're still going to make out 10 or 15 grand ahead, even if we reduce $40,000 from where you were previously listed. And this goes back to that bad information. One person who's only sold one home in their life, speaking to an agent that they trusted, who told them certain things, and they're like, look, I guess it's just not even worth that at all. And I'm like, no, your neighbor did sell last week for like $475. You weren't overpriced by that much, but the reason that it felt like you were on an island is because when there's 9 other listings and you're the overpriced one, why are they going to go see that one, right? You're going to be last on their list.
So how can we strategize to this is always great conversation, but how do we strategize to get more of those listings?
Well, I think
right?
that's so obviously you talked about FSBOs and expires and things like that. Like, this is a great Matt just brought up a great example. That agent, that was probably somebody that was in their sphere of influence. This is the opportunity manifesting itself differently in a different environment. Opportunity never disappears, it simply looks different, right? Your sphere of influence should always be, excuse me, wow, burping at the wrong time, should always be your number one source of business. And you need to approach it differently. You need to have better conversations because they're getting a lot of doom and gloom and a lot of noise. We just pulled up the data. Things are great for sellers right now. Things are not bad for buyers. We're not going to talk too much about point buy downs and things like that right now.
My buyer business is awesome.
It's awesome right now, right?
Let me tell you.
But no, listen.
go ahead.
Think about all of the people in your database that were like, man, I'd love to buy a new home. In the last couple of years, we're like, I don't have an extra $100,000 in the bank. I wish I could lock in this rate. Honestly, I'd pay a mid-5 rate if I didn't have to come to the table with $1 billion extra dollars, and I had a few more homes to choose from. All of those things are happening now. Yeah, you're going to pay a slightly higher rate. You have a little bit more ability to negotiate. We can cover like seller paid buy downs on a different seller paid rate buy down.
You just sent an email out to your database on this.
100% we did. We did a whole YouTube video about it yesterday. I like how Nick is on our newsletter list.
Everything.
We're on all of our newsletter lists. And now those people have at least twice as many choices. They have twice as much inventory to choose from. They could probably get a contingent offer accepted, right? And still be able to negotiate on terms and create a winning solution for both sides, right? Like, your sphere of influence needs to hear that message. What was the message in August of 2021 that you're talking to with your sphere about what it was like to buy a home. It was basically put your helmets on because it's going to be bumpy, right? If people were still buying homes, you have such a more powerful message for both the sellers and would-be buyers in your database right now. Everybody who's a potential seller is most likely going to be a buyer. Your ability to say, hey, all of that really difficult stuff about being a buyer is smoothing itself over. Market values are still increasing. We're going to price this thing accurately. I'm going to market the hell out of it. And you're going to be able to just transition more smoothly because you're not going to have to deal out an arm and a leg to get what you want on the buy side. Your sphere of influence needs to hear this messaging. If that's not the first place you're looking for listings, I don't know what you're doing with your day. That needs to be more than ever.
No, I'll disagree with you. I'm gonna be the other side because at 22, 23, no, man, like when I was that age, I wasn't going after my sphere.
Oh, I didn't know our avatar was 22 years old.
What's
this curveball?
But and I get it because you know what I don't want us to sound like is the old talking heads because that rhetoric right there is.
I think that's why that's number 3 on the list. I think
old talking heads of this is like, look, yes, your sphere. Once you get to a certain point, your sphere should absolutely be your gold mine. In fact, I just I had a client call me today. He's like, I was like, over the weekend I had one of my duplexes burned down, another one in 9 months. I'm like, dude, what's going on? And so I was calling him. He's a contractor, a friend of mine. He's like, I was like, hey, I was calling you. Do you want to do another fire burn? He's like, well, I was actually calling you. Do you want to list another house of mine? I was like, well, yes.
Tradesies?
Yes. Yeah. So, it's absolutely the database and your data bank of it will build up. So if you don't feel like you have a strong database yet and a strong sphere, again, you need to go down and to check off, all right, my sphere, not so strong. Can I build that up? Abso-freaking-lutely. All right. Then where can I go get business now? For sale by owners, expireds, canceled. Go do open houses.
That was going to be the next one.
Open houses and then go door knock, circle prospect, circle text around it. It's cheap. It's next to nothing. And right now, your conversation should be, hey, I'm going to invite the neighbors over, not to show you how many people are going to show up or how many offers we're going to get. I actually want to have like a neighborhood town forum about what's happening in the marketplace. Yep. And if you can't make it, can I actually send you a quick video of what's going on so that you're prepared? And even if you're not looking at selling, guess what you're going to want to do with this information next year when property taxes start rolling around? You're going to be able to fight these property taxes and start winning again next year.
This is the part that I hope agents hear when we talk about this stuff, because like we're never going to be the dudes who are like going to tell you something you haven't heard from the standpoint of what the lead source is. What we will tell you are the ways to layer down into that lead source to where you can go so deep with them, and that's exactly what Nick's talking about, right? When you're starting following up with video, text message, when you're doing things like, I've never even heard the town forum idea thing. That's actually really good.
I just made that up right now.
Right? But I mean, whatever, right? When you're texting for sale by owners with the right message. Right? Like what? And I don't know what that message is. Right? I don't know what that is for you. So like, don't think somebody else can be able to write your ad copy.
No, I mean every conversation is unique. It should be the right message for that conversation.
Exactly. Yeah. And I just think that's where I really want agents to hear these different ways to get creative at approaching people, because that's what Nick's talking about when he talks about doing stuff for a different generation. Because I agree with what Brian's saying from a database, because I have a database that's 10 years old now, right? And I have past clients that go back 10 years. And if I needed a listing tomorrow, that's probably not where I'm going to go.
No, right? Not at all. I think that you guys are talking about, like, I love this conversation about layers, because that's really all I'm essentially talking about, right? Like when I do group coaching, I basically focus on two things. Like I believe in the 12 and 2. So like 2 deals for every 12 people in your database. I think that's actually like mathematically pretty good, right? And so I talk about 2 things in our coaching goals. What's your number? And it's usually not enough to hit your goals. So what are you doing to close that gap, right? But what do you do to close that gap? You usually do layers. So like, yes, we might seem like talking heads sometimes, and the layers are really where it's at. I have said this forever, and you guys are just adding on to it. Open houses are a 3-day event.
Yes.
It is door knocking one day, more door knocking in the morning, and then the actual open house itself the second day, and then your follow-up the third day. Those are the layers, and where you make the money is in the follow-up and the layers. So all of the people that you door knocked, that you built out their contact information, you had great conversations with them. You got, they're going to put them on your monthly newsletters, all that type of stuff. Guess what you're doing? You're just adding them to your database. And then guess what you can do on top of that? Everything should just be built around the layers that you're adding for the people in your database. And that's how you move them up the ladder. So like I met you at when I was door knocking for an open house, right? We had a great conversation. You're not ready to sell, but I got your full contact information. I put you in my database. I sent you a video text the next day, all that type of stuff. And then what do? Everything else that I do for my database. So you can expect my property tax email and video from me. You can also expect my quarterly video CMA from you as well, right? Like every quarter, I'm gonna send you a little Loom video. I'm gonna run a CMA for you, give you an estimated value of my home. I'm gonna train you to expect that over time, just like every other single person in my database. And then you know what you're gonna think about when you think about buying or selling or referring real estate? You're gonna think about the dude who you can always count on to provide you consistent value. And you're going to mention my name. That's all your database does. So you guys are right. I think that the general premise is you need to add those layers to everyone in your database. We tend to overcomplicate things. Like we treat our database differently than our prospecting. Like you're right. The mechanism right now is prospecting. It's open houses, it's door knocking, it's FSBOs, it's expireds. And then the caveat is if that's all you're doing and you're not adding those layers, good luck, because you need to add the layers. Like you've got to be present, omnipresent for those people by adding those layers.
You brought up the Loom video thing, and I think this has just been one of the most fun things that has came into my business in the past 6 weeks is this whole Loom video bit, because it's not just for your database. The cool thing about Loom, is I can just copy like a GIF and then send that via text or via email really easily, right? And it's very aesthetically pleasing. I can pull up the comps. You can be really concise. Keep it less than 2 minutes. I'm sending that stuff like to that expired that I was talking about. I sent that exact same thing to her. When she was talking about the 410, I was like, whoa, wait. I was like, let me show you the comps. Let me show you how, I think in your worst case scenario, you're getting 450, and I can show you the math on how that's going to net you at least 10 more grand than this 410 offer you're about to sign, right, with this investor or whatever. And I sent that to her, and then it sparked a larger conversation, because it wasn't me just sending her a quick CMA, or even worse than that, a 56-page fucking CMA, right?
Nobody reads those.
Nobody's reading that. Send me something 56 pages and watch me delete that faster than hell. Yeah. So I sent her that video. I didn't. And here's the other great thing, guys. You don't have to write a long ass email. You don't have to bullet point all this stuff. You don't need to attach all these graphs and charts. Literally, whatever paper or PDF you're talking about in the video, you attach that to the thing. You tell them, hey, here's my thoughts in the video. Let's have a conversation after you had a chance to watch it. You do everything in that. It makes I think it talks to what Nick's talking about. It's going to appeal to a larger group of people, especially people who just want to be a little bit more tech enabled. Are we still using that phrase?
Tech-enabled. The tech-enabled agents.
Yeah, for tech-enabled agents. But I think at the end of the day, it's a really cool way to do the thing that I like the most. It allows people to see your face, hear your voice, see your mannerisms. It's not just an email. So think about how all of that is so much stickier. And we're talking about one stinking Loom video.
Loom. This is how I bought a property. It's under
free.
contract 21 days ago.
Okay.
And it's not going to.
And you sent them a Loom video.
Sent him a Loom video explaining the offer, why I was making it,
Bro.
at the price I was, the explanation, and he watched it. I know he watched it, and locked up it the very next day. I locked it up with 80,000 in equity in there.
Whoa.
All because I started having that conversation with him. Now, it was an initial text reach out.
Yeah.
Started having that conversation with him. And then when he said he was interested in receiving the offer from me, I ran the comps, did a Loom video, got his email, sent it over to him. I knew he watched it because with Loom, Loom, M as in mom, I know when they watch it. Right, I don't know how much that they watch. That there's other services I think you can hire on that, or other companies that. But Loom's amazing. If you want it, we use Loom. We really started Loom with our training series. So this is how we.
That's kind of how
agents.
I stumbled into it.
Yeah. And it's cheap. It's like, is it free?
You could do a free version.
I have the free version. I don't pay for it.
I think
my
mine's
version
like-
at all.
Even the paid version is like $10.
I thought it was $10 a year or something. Like
It
that.
might
very-
be. I have
it's
not
very
used
cheap.
the paid version yet. I've ran into no issues at all. I can still copy the GIFs and send it really clean.
Yeah.
And it
Full.
looks great.
I'm going to give full credit. Friend of the show, Joe Rosen.
Yep.
I got
Yeah.
this idea from Joe, who when I was sending referrals to him, he always included me on his CMA. He did it and put it on YouTube and did it unlisted.
So
So he was doing it on and uploading it to YouTube.
Dude, Because that would just get your views up, your channel views.
Well, it's unlisted.
Yeah,
Actually,
it's unlisted. I don't know how that works.
I think that works great for him.
It might help with like how YouTube still ranks your shit, because even if it's unlisted, if your channel views have to matter.
Well, look, Joe works YouTube, so he might know that. I would say the reason I like Zoom is because the immediate thing I can think of with that
Loom.
Loom, yeah. The immediate thing I can think of with that is if you text me like a YouTube video, right? And I'm not logged into my YouTube on my phone. It now takes me to my Chrome or my Safari where I've got to log in. And I will tell you, that's where I exit the show. I'm not logging in on all that stuff. I'm not doing.
Same way.
Loom's the easier situation. It's text embedded. To Nick's point, you can see it, right? And I think it works a lot better.
I'm the exact same way. If I'm logged out of any one of my platforms and you ask me to log back in, one, I don't know the password, and two, I just don't think, like I do this with, when you guys send me TikToks straight from TikTok and they haven't been repurposed to Instagram, and I just don't. I don't know the bit. Like, I don't get the laugh because I'm not.
But you always laugh at it.
I'm not
still.
Yeah, it's fake. I just want you guys to feel good. I didn't watch the video.
He's not watched any of those we sent.
Only if they come from Instagram links, then I do. But if they come natively from TikTok, I'm not making a TikTok just to watch your fucking video. No, I'm so sorry. I just don't care.
We'll make one for you. You're missing out.
I just take all my reels and throw them on TikTok that I make for all the other stuff and just see what happens.
It can work.
I have a professional Facebook account now. They asked me if I wanted to be a pro Facebooker.
Then
I can start monetizing my reels and stuff.
So I did that.
Dude, we know some people that are doing it.
I will tell you, if you have that opportunity, though, it does mess with the whole interface of your Facebook. It is a little bit different on how you can even engage with people, or like when people engage with you, how it shows your friends.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it does. It makes some stuff kind of weird.
It is, and like it says, I was following 0 people.
Yeah.
Like, did you see that?
Yeah.
Like, it's the digital content creator platform.
Yes, that's what it is. And I think there is a part of it too that it suppresses your personal stuff, because I get a lot of engagement on very specific things that I'm very aware of, and my engagement has went down a little bit.
I'm jealous. I don't have.
I didn't get it forever, man.
Facebook,
no,
now that you can make money,
here's what you got to do. Jenya did this. So Jenya on our team posted a reel on Facebook of them coming and picking up her Tesla, and it's got like 6 million.
Dude, last year was like
huge.
5.8 million.
It's
views.
a ton. So I think what the key was, I had never posted a reel natively to Facebook. I had always posted them on Instagram.
I always do native.
So I posted a native reel to Facebook, and a week later, they offered me the pro account thing. So if you're looking to get that, go start posting reels. I think once you get a certain amount of views on reels, it might trigger that a little bit.
Okay.
Because the digital content creator.
That's got to help me think of some reels. I don't
do
anything.
all the podcast stuff that we do, those are all the reels you post on Instagram. It's the same
what
shit.
I need to do.
It's the same shit.
Ken, we got to post them on Facebook.
Repurpose
I don't know.
stuff,
I kind of like the idea of Brian doing like a dancing reel stuff.
Stuff. That's the thing.
Posting that.
Y'all have so much of an advantage. You got kids and stuff. I just go home and read and tell my dogs to get off me. That's like most of my life.
Dude,
most of my life is telling dogs to go lay down.
Dude,
Some
dog
of the best,
stuff murders.
Yeah,
we go to Miami tomorrow. I assure everybody, Brian will come back from Miami with one reel.
Yes.
I'll do something.
If done correctly,
Got to do something.
the house of White Claws built around him while he's in his suit that he got from Suit Supply.
We're gonna do it right next to the pool, right behind him, and then I shove his ass in the pool, and he goes crashing through the White Claws into the pool in slow mo.
The Tower of White Claws. Oh man, I do love that.
Would that get a White Claw sponsorship?
I promise you one reel while we're in Miami.
We'll get enough, because like here's the thing is, like I did this the other day. I literally took, because I take all my photos. This is deviating completely, but we're at 45 minutes, so it's fine. Let's go for reels.
Yeah, I think we gave like a ton of great information.
If you take a lot of live photos, like if you take a lot of photos on live, understand those are little videos, and they're amazing for reels, because it's like a 3-second video. Yeah. So all you got to do is go find videos. Like I posted one the other day of Victoria, of just her like trying to run up the side of this embankment, and she fell down, and I put this stupid audio to it. It got 43,000 views.
Yeah.
I posted one of us jacking that one I posted last night. Yeah. That got like 8,000. Now here's the thing is, I know there's people out there who get millions of views. I'm not saying my stupid ass views matter, but what it does is it keeps me top of mind with my sphere off stuff that's really silly.
A lot of those use your sphere. So that's the real main point.
It's just throwing stuff out there, man. I don't know what's going to stick. Who cares?
You know what I've noticed that we've been doing today? I'm proud of us. It's summertime. Everybody's been working out. I've seen both of you check out your biceps when you're on camera.
Oh, yeah.
I don't realize. I got the view right here of the TV. Let's just do it, man. We've all been putting in work, man. I saw both. You guys both look good, man.
I told you, kettlebells will rip
bro.
you up,
Just
dude.
100%.
Nick likes watching. Are we just gonna keep the camera on Brian the whole show, or what are you doing over there,
I mean,
Jesse?
I'm bouncing
All right,
around
cool.
when people are
That's
talking,
fine.
man. I'm bouncing around
Talking like
here.
a fucking Brian. But anyways, no, Nick was talking about like because I've been posting a lot of stuff like kind of unabashedly, if that's the right word, like a lot of shirtless.
Wow, that was actually totally right.
Shocking.
Just like with the shirt off and stuff like that, and I, like, dude, I mean, I don't know. Nobody's reaching out like ooh la la. Nobody.
Is that your gauge for whether or not it's worth doing
Is it working?
You didn't get one on one of the reels yesterday where it's like, oh, that dude looks like the guy from Twilight, and then
That's
someone else
right.
comments like, oh, that does look like him, but fat or something.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
they never say his name. There was a time at some point where somebody was in our world who started pointing out the fact that Nick looks like Taylor Lautner, and we kind of ran with it. And then essentially they didn't say Taylor Lautner because they couldn't figure it out, but somebody essentially said on his comments like, "Is that the fat werewolf from the vampire movies?" Like, dude, had no clue.
It was one of my older videos. That
It was super old. Nick is ripped as fuck.
Yeah,
man.
that's not fair, bro. Yeah, that's
It's
fair.
cool. It is what it is. But
Well, we'll run the promo at the end of this of
Yeah, you could
Thick-faced Matt.
see the difference, bro. Jeez.
We still need to make new promos at the
We
end.
do need to make new promos. You know who needs to make a new promo? Oh, no, I'm not going to do that. That'd be an amazing
Mortgage
segue.
Mike?
I was going to say R. Kelly.
oh God, no. Brian.
Oh,
no.
man.
Somebody else was pushing this before. Oh shit.
There are some
Busted.
people that the only thing I'll say on that is Jesse and I were walking in from the
You
car.
can mute my mic. I ain't saying
And
shit on
they were
this.
like, R. Kelly got 30 years. And I even turned to Jesse and I was like, I don't even know what he did, but that sounds right. Like, there's some people who are like, that sounds right.
no, I think it needed to be longer.
That's exactly. Like,
Yeah.
I don't even know what he did this time, but I'm just like, yeah, 30 years.
Like 30 more years? Or?
Yeah, I was like, if you told me R. Kelly had already been in jail for 15 years, I probably would have believed you. So 30 more years sounds fantastic. I want to believe in everyone. I also think objectively there are some people in the world are better off.
No,
without.
it's okay to leave R. Kelly on the doorstep. It's okay to leave R. Kelly on the doorstep. That's just fine.
Oh man.
All right,
Jesse,
boys.
let's do it really quick.
What do we got
What do we
here?
got? Do you guys have any? What did I?
While we're waiting on what do we got?
Yeah, what do
We
we got?
did just quick thank for our sponsors again. MortgageMikeOfTexas.com. If you're looking for a lender here in Texas, you want that Mortgage Mike stamp of approval, go talk with Mortgage Mike, MortgageMikeOfTexas.com, as well as home warranty. Look, Armadillo Home Warranty, we give the Ron a lot of crap, but it's all out of love.
Do you think
it's an
that
amazing
Theron is short for Theronald?
new name, Theronald.
I hope so.
So call up Theronald and hit him up.
saw it too.
Hit him up and tell him that you and your clients want a Armadillo home warranty. You want to have that armored shell protection. So armadillo.1/Tor, Tore, and Homeward DFW for that property management company.
Do they? Is that a bit, or do they really have armored shell protection as a product?
I have no idea.
They should.
If they don't by next week,
Nick's a wordsmith on
then
these
they're
ads.
just not. They're not taking good creative criticism because that's fucking bananas good.
And this is one of the things
Yeah.
that we actually don't ever say about that, right? Like, obviously, these guys are sponsored, but they also come in and speak to our team. And I'll tell you, Theron is unbelievable
Yeah, he's a
partner
good dude.
when it comes to just. So if you are a team leader of any sort in DFW, like, reach out to that guy. Like, he will come out and just, talk to your people about it, bring them tacos or whatever the hell people do to feed real estate agents. But like, just in general, he is a legitimate, amazing vendor partner to have. And he happens to sell a good product too. So.
Super good human, man, for real.
So I saw two on here, Jesse, that I'm intrigued by.
I think we went. I know one of ours was the same, but I'll let you go with the
So
other.
they were right in front of each other. Like the one, would you rather be dumb or ugly? Is just hilarious. And if you had to live, this one is just interesting because if you had to live with it always being nighttime or daytime, which would you choose and why? And I think it's
That's
like
a really tough one.
it is because the night obviously, like, I feel like if I lived in nighttime all the time, I would probably be sad because I love the sun and I need to see it and I need to feel its warm rays upon my skin.
Sure.
But I will also say that every morning when the sun comes through my window, I'm like, "Fuck you, dude! What are you doing?"
Right. No, that's
tell.
actually like the perfect paradox because like the more important question is like, could you adjust to the darkness and not be sad quicker than you could adjust the idea of having to sleep when it's light outside?
So hard. Now here's the
So
thing.
hard.
Here's the thing is, I will say if I had to pick one or the other, I might pick light because there are more things to artificially make my world dark than there are things to artificially
This
make
is
my
the
world
hot
light.
and cold conversation. I would always rather be cold because I can put more clothes on. Then that makes sense. I would always rather it be daytime.
I think so too.
I
'Cause
want
I can,
daytime.
I can,
so, too.
I can block all that shit out.
Well,
the other
see-
thing is, I will tell you, like, you guys know I'm like an early morning guy. It feels like no matter how long I've been doing this, I feel like I'm up so early that I want to do stuff. And it's inappropriate, like just start
Texting
my
people
shit.
and stuff?
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. And like if it was always light outside, I'd have an excuse to like, yeah, it's 4:30 in the morning. Just fucking deal with it, bro. This is what I'm doing.
First
I
off,
think-
why would you just text anyway?
I was actually saying, I think you just need to become untouched the outcome. At first, yes, people will be weirded out by
I
it.
refrained from doing it to you this morning. Your wife sent me. Well, you were on the thread too. It
Yes.
wasn't like just her.
Yeah.
A funny
was like, "You
thing
up?"
when I was asleep last night, and I woke up at like 5, and I was in tears. It was a video of Nick, but he had like a funny face on, like a filter. I was legit laughing out loud, almost crying in my bathroom watching this. But I couldn't tell him till like 7:30 because
Why?
I felt weird about
First
it. I
off,
don't know. I felt weird.
By the way, you texted at 5:30. I was up at 5:45.
All right. Well,
So
it
you
seemed like longer.
Yeah.
I waited at least that half hour.
I got up at 7:15.
I think the other one. You can come in. Can you unlock the door? Oh, it's locked. All right, the other one I think is better. Would you, and lady can get involved on this. Lady, would you rather be dumb or ugly? Whoa!
See,
She said ugly.
I need a ranking, and again, we're not going to start throwing out ugly because then it might hurt some people if we say what type of ugly.
That's
So,
only if they
are we
feel
talking,
ugly.
Are we talking about on a scale, like if we're doing the normal 1 to 10 scale, are we saying a 3? And,
I was going to say 4 or below.
okay, 4 or below. I think I would rather be.
That makes it worse.
I
It's
think
like,
I'd rather
I don't
be
wanna-
ugly.
Matt goes, I don't want to make people feel ugly, so let's rank them 1 through
No,
10.
everybody's ranking's different. I just got to find the number on the scale because I can personally handle being a 4 if I am like incredibly smart, because then I don't think it matters.
Yeah, how smart would you be if you're not dumb? Are you of average intelligence and still ugly?
Well, no, because then you're just ugly and average.
No, because it says, are you dumb or ugly? But if you're not dumb, which means you're ugly, are you only average
Only
smart?
average smart.
Or do you get to be a genius?
I need to know the scale. Do I get smarter the uglier I get?
Ooh.
I think that's
Do they move?
fair.
Do I start in the middle like this, and then as I move further away, I just get uglier and
Well,
smarter?
just remember that
seems
some people do find intelligence attractive.
I need to find the perfect balance of what my hotness versus my intelligence level is, so I can still get dates and make money.
I'm just gonna give you my viewpoint on this entire conversation, scales and everything. I don't want to be ugly. I would always rather be better looking. I'm so sorry. That's just how society operates. I know that might be super superficial of me. Dumb people get away with a lot of stuff if they're good looking, man. That is the way the world works.
Only
It's
until
just-
you can only push that shit till max of your 50s, and everybody's just tired of your pretty stupid bullshit.
you gotta
Just
eat
look
your
at social
vegetables,
media,
man.
I know.
Here's the deal.
It's full of dumb, pretty
That's
people.
actually my goal. I want to be good looking enough for long enough that by the time my brain deteriorates into me being dumb,
Too late.
none of it matters anymore at all.
That's true.
Then we're all just cashing out.
In the theme of this, let's look at a video of Chubbier Matt. Bye. Thanks for watching the show today. Make sure if you're watching this on Facebook, you head over to our group, the only real estate group worth being a part of, so you can watch the extended conversation. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And if you listen on the Apple Podcast, leave us a review. We'd really like it. So just do it. Do it. Do that over there. Go to this one. And then go to that one. Thanks.